Session 3 features inquiry-based teaching and learning. In Houston, Texas, Jorge Arredondo students explore Rudolfo Anaya's Bless Me Ultima and look for related themes in a mural depicting the struggles of Mexican Americans. In New York City, the students in Bo Wu's classroom read 3 works by James Baldwin. Sparked by their personal interests, the students research topics related to James Baldwin's works and collaborate to produce group websites.
My name is Bo Wu, and I teach English at Murray Bertram High School, downtown New York City. And I have been teaching English Regents preparation classes and senior English.
Good morning.
But this year I took the challenge of teaching some sophomore English classes as well in this special setting classroom with internet access.
Good morning, everyone. In the next week or so, we're going to be working on the James Baldwin project.
We're beginning an inquiry-based unit on James Baldwin, in which we'll explore 3 of his works: his short story, The Rock Piles, an essay called The Fire Next Time, and Sonny's Blues, also a short story.
Okay, you're going to be working in small groups. We're going to be doing some online research about James Baldwin and his works, and then each group will pick 1 work written by James Baldwin based on your interests, and as an end product of this project, you will be doing a group website.
To me, James Baldwin is the embodiment of history, culture, politics, and rhetoric, because his writing is so beautiful, and yet his writings dealt with the actual social issues. And he based a lot of his writings on his own life, so kids could really relate to him since he was from New York, from Harlem. His stories are still happening today and in today's world.
Okay, now let's begin our first activity. When you hear an author's name, what would you like to know about him or her, which will help you understand his or her works? Let's go. Any questions? What would you like to know about an author? Let's go. Yes, Andy?
What did inspire him or her to write?
What inspired him?
Baldwin should be read because he's a prolific writer. He's a very complex man. I think it's important for people to read him and to look at his fiction as well as his nonfiction, because he represents the essential outsider.
Joanna?
What background did the author come from?
What background?
He's kind of a Renaissance man. He's someone who also is accessible.
Okay. So we would like to know about his personal background. Ayana?
What era did he or she live in?
People often ask me, well, what does it mean to set up an inquiry-based classroom? And the simple answer to that question is, it means building curriculum from the inquiry questions of learners.
Did you say what era did he or she live in?
Now, there's a lot of other things that you can add to that definition, but the thing that you have to keep in mind is that you are inviting an open structure where students can find their way into literacy, where they can take ownership of that process.
Any more questions? Rockwell?
I would like to know the general topics of his writings.
What issues did he deal with in his works? Okay.
Raising questions is a way of starting their inquiry, just by asking simple questions. As they're doing research, they will find more information and more sophisticated questions will come to their mind.
Okay, what are his or her best works? Okay. And any more questions? Louis?
What is the author's life experiences?
In James Baldwin's work, he dealt with 2 major issues. One is the self-identity issue, not just as homosexual, but also as an African American. And people could not look at him as a successful, intelligent writer, so he created a lot of writing dealing with that issue. And another major thing was about social injustice. And in his Far Next Time, the long essay, he pointed out the social injustice that existed in current society he lived in.
When you say background, what do you mean by it? Jasmine.
His neighborhood and family, what things were going around in his time at that year.
So based on the questions you generated, and so we have these categories. Okay, the author, James Baldwin, and major works and themes, background, that includes era, the time he lived in, neighborhood.
I felt James Baldwin's works and the discussion of him could be a bridge to the discussion of the art, the literature and music of this era.
First of all, we are going to do some initial research individually.
This is a computer lab belonging to our English department. There are certain challenges in using this computer lab to teach English, but once you know how to do this, it's more rewarding than teaching a traditional classroom. In this setting, once you integrate technology into creating lessons, it allows students of all different levels to work at their own pace.
Now we are going to do some research on James Baldwin's life and his works. What keywords would you put in the box to find information about him or his works? Alexander?
James Baldwin.
Okay, James Baldwin. Let's say his best works. Okay, what other words would you put in besides James Baldwin?
The best way to do is probably write James Baldwin / best works.
Good. Okay. Okay, the reason why you need to do this is because if you put James Baldwin, okay, in the blank, what's going to happen is any website that contains James Baldwin's name will show up. There will be too many entries. The best way to do research and find the best result in a very limited time is to find a very specific topic.
You never know where this might lead the students to. Just getting them interested in the author, reading about him and his works, and other things like they may like to discover more about Harlem and our civil rights movements, because as they're reading, they're going to encounter all this information. And as a teacher, I can give them some information in a linear way, but here in the internet, the information is all horizontal. They jump from one time frame to another, one issue to another, one subject to another, and they're all interrelated. And without knowing they're doing it, they just learn so much exploring it.
Okay, as you are doing this research, I would like you to think about the topic you would like to explore further. The topic you are going to choose should be the one that you're really interested in. Okay, so make sure you really like the topic and you want to find out more about it.
When the students go online with the topics they have chosen and they do research about those topics, there is a excitement, sort of like taking a journey into the internet.
Jasmine told me a little problem we had when you use quotation marks around James Baldwin and his works. And sometimes we use very specific words and you will have the trouble finding any entry at all in the internet. So Jasmine, would you tell us what happened to you?
First, I put the James Baldwin and his life experience in quotations, but I didn't have a match. Then I wrote James Baldwin life experience, and it also didn't. No match came out. But then I wrote James Baldwin life. That's it, and in quotations, and I got results.
Teaching with this inquiry approach, teachers have to have a very good balance between exactly how much instruction a teacher needs to give to the students and really how much room you need to give to the students to work on their own.
Okay, please pass forward the topic you have written down on the paper.
When I ask them to provide the rationale for the questions is to force students to ask themselves, why did I pick this topic exactly? And also to force them to look into the topic. Am I really interested in this topic?
Louis And your topic is major works and themes explored.
I chose this topic to find out like what's the reasons that makes his book so interesting. Like what's the themes he has in his books as in like the topic of like his writing.
Okay, thank you. Right now, these topics look like a phrase or a statement. I would like you somehow to turn this into a question. Generate maybe 2 questions. Okay, ask yourself, what do I want to find out about this particular topic?
It's very important to understand that it isn't just that it's a student-centered classroom. It's the fact that Bo is inviting students to take ownership of the inquiry process, of that literacy process. Students have a vested interest because the questions that they're pursuing are the questions that came from their own natural inclinations to wonder.
Hello, everyone. So I hope you all had fun doing research yesterday. And by the way, just to let you know, everything that we talked yesterday has been updated in our website. So if you need some references to what we did yesterday, you can go to James Baldwin and you will see all the information right there.
I created my own website, and it's really not that difficult to do. When I first started, the sole purpose was for my students just to have a place to go and find the information they need. And for students to see, I think I model certain things for my students when I do the website. The way I organize the information, and the way actually I have to work hard too to put things together, and all these things, I think, set a good example for students.
Okay, so those people who have chosen the same topic, okay, you're going to sit together and one person types the report and the rest of the group members will sit around him or her and discuss how you would like to generate a report that best represents the entire group. Okay, so let's go.
For students to share the information they have researched and combine it into a group report is a very valuable exercise because they all went to different websites. They certainly would bring in a lot more information than just one person going to the internet, and they have to process information, say, we have similar information, but why should we use this piece of information for this particular topic?